but it really means identifying what is the next small step that you can take that will give you the most results for the least effort, and at the same time is the one thing that you're probably doing so wrong that is causing all the problems in the first place. Only after you have completed these basics, then you can ask yourself the fourth question. The difference between the successful transformations and the non-successful are the ability to be consistent with the basics and to be good at the basics. The majority of you will experience significant improvement in your life, in your well-being. Welcome to the next episode of the Limitless Body and Mind podcast. Today's episode will discuss the lowest hanging fruit. It's a very interesting concept that a lot of you will resonate with, especially those who have been burned by other programs before. And by burned, I mean by those programs that just give you the strict guidance, the strict diet, the strict training regimen, and they tell you, off you go, do this, you will lose weight, and it really works, but by the end of it, you feel burned out, you stop, eventually you gain all the weight back, and you end up hating the whole thing, and you think, how normal people do it? Well, normal people, mostly first of all, have been fit all their life, but those who really succeed, they very well understand the concept of the lowest hanging fruit. This is a concept which it's understandable by the sound of it, what it means, but it really means identifying what is the next small step that you can take that will give you the most results for the least effort. And at the same time is the one thing that you're probably doing so wrong that is causing all the problems in the first place. We need to identify that thing right away, figure out how to fix it, and then move on. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make is try to do everything at once. For example, you can see the perfect training plan from somebody online and they say, this is exactly how I train, this is how I eat, and I have this phenomenal shape as a result of it. You can apply it and you go and try to apply the whole thing. It's not going to stick. Especially if you have been off training for a very long time, let's say a couple of decades. Just forget about jumping on this journey and completing everything to the T perfectly. You are going to struggle, and in fact, if you try to apply everything all together at once, you will either completely fail, not get good at anything, or you will burn out eventually and you might end up quitting. It is crucially important that when you start this journey, you develop a very positive relationship with the journey right from the start, which means you need to be in a position where you do feel a little bit of discomfort, but you also enjoy it and you're also seeing results right away. And that is something that is tricky to achieve for somebody who is new, and that's why this episode today is massively going to help you, because I'm going to guide you through the whole process of identifying what are your lowest hanging fruits. To help you, I have prepared a file which I will attach the Google Drive link to the description of this episode. You can just click on it, make your own copy, download it without emails or anything, and just have it with you to guide you, to help you identify the lowest hanging fruit, which, by the way, you will be doing regularly. It's something that you do right now in the beginning, but also something that you do further on, because it's always good to check the basics. As I've said many times before, the difference between the successful transformations and the non-successful are the ability to be consistent with the basics and to be good at the basics. If you can't do the basics right, just forget about it. You're never going to get far. So your focus needs to be on those basics. So here is the list. I'll have it in front of me. For those listening right now, not watching the video, you can just take notes, pause it and listen again for the questions that you find interesting. You can download the file as well. And you can also watch this podcast on YouTube and on Spotify on video format. And please subscribe if you haven't to support this podcast. As you will see, I give practical and tactical advice that will really help you. And there's nothing else like this out there. I've created this out of my own experience and imagination of what is needed, what is required. And I haven't seen anyone do anything like that. And I guarantee you, you will see real results in your life if you start applying it. And if you want to be notified about the next episodes, click the bell icon on the podcasting platform that you're listening to and you're subscribed to. So here is the list. It's made of 4 categories. We have the category of nutrition, training and activities, the second one. The third one is sleep and recovery. And the fourth one is bad habits. Every category consists of questions and a little description and solution after every single question. For you to identify what is the next lowest hanging fruit in your life, all you have to do is just ask the right questions. And these are the same questions that I ask my first clients, my new coming clients, when they come to the coaching practice, so I can identify what is the lowest hanging fruit in their life, and then I customize the solution. And exactly that is what I'm going to give you with these questionnaires. So let's start. The first one is the nutrition. We have 3 questions which you need to answer. You need to make sure you handle the challenges that they will present if you find any issues with these questions before you move to the 4th question. And all that is very detailed, in a detailed way, described in the sheet, so download it. It will make your life much easier. The first question is, do you have consistent meal timing and meal structure? If you don't, then you need to work on this. That means having breakfast, lunch and dinner at specific times. And there is a free training on that in the Fit in 4 Weeks program, which is a free program designed to help you, the listener, on this podcast. So the second question is, are you snacking on treats throughout the day whenever you want and more than once per day? If yes, set some rules around that. It's very important that you control the amount of snacking that you do throughout the day, because that's one of the most common reasons why people gain weight without even realizing, and then wonder, why am I gaining weight? Well, maybe you're having a few more handfuls of pistachios or peanuts every other day, and that's how it accumulates. So tracking your snacking is very important. The next question, are you eating highly processed foods frequently? And in brackets I said more than 20% of the foods you eat. If yes, replace most of them with whole food. This is crucially important. And with this you have the 3 questions in nutrition, which if you answer, if you find issues and if you fix them, the majority of you will experience significant improvement in your life, in your well-being, in your energy levels, in your productivity, and many of you will start losing weight right away if you handle these 3 questions and you figure out a solution and overcome the problem if a problem exists. And only after you have completed these basics, then you can ask yourself the 4th question, which is as important, but without the first ones, it just doesn't make any sense to go there. The 4th question is, are you eating on a caloric deficit? If you're not sure, you need to start tracking your calories and your progress. To do that, there is a free training again in the Fit in 4 Weeks program, which you can download and find out. I will obviously cover this in the future episodes, so make sure you subscribe to the podcast, because it's a very detailed topic explaining how to handle this. But that's the 4th thing that you need to ask yourself. It's not what you start with. The first 3 questions are the most important, so make sure you start from them. And with this, we complete the nutrition. After you have handled all these 4 questions, all you have to do is just focus on your consistency and improving the quality of the foods that you're eating, adding variety, and just learning to be really consistent with this and turning it into your lifestyle. Then I move to the next one, the next category, which is training and activities. In the very same way, I have 4 questions that are the most basic ones. You must go through all these first, find a solution for the problems that you identify inside, and then you go for the last question, which is the 5th question. Here it is, the first question. How much time do you have for each workout on a typical day? Very important question. You be realistic. If you have 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 40, 1 hour or 2 hours on a typical day, how much time can you spend for a workout, including the showering, getting ready for the workout, and so on? Be very realistic and write this down. Second question, how many days per week can you train consistently without feeling overwhelmed? Maximum 5 days for beginners. Again, be super realistic with your answer and write it down. The 3rd question, on which days are you going to be training? Again, be very realistic and make sure, if you're only going to train for 2 days or 3 days, which is absolutely fine, by the way, just be realistic, as I said. Make sure you don't put them like one after the other in a single week. Spread them out through the week, so you have rest days in between the training days, and also have more filled week. Don't leave like 5 empty days without any workout, because it's gonna feel much like losing your progress and momentum in this period. So make sure you're kind of frequently training, as frequently as you can. Also include the resting days in between. And then we move to the fourth question. Is the gym easy to access, and do you feel comfortable training there right now? Or would you prefer starting at home, and do you have the space available? So that is to identify the location where you're going to be training. The idea is that it's frictionless. It needs to be easy to get to the gym. If you're somebody who has a lot of experience, you don't mind going outside in the rain, in the snow, and you're totally fine with that, you've done it, you know for a fact that you can handle it, then go for it. But if you don't have that recent experience, you're not sure you're gonna continue going to the gym every day, even if the weather is bad, make a safe bet and just train at home to start with. And once you have answered all these 4 questions, then you're going to identify what training plan fits all the criteria from your answers. The right training plan can be found in the Fit in 4 Weeks program. Inside I have put a bunch of workouts which will fit in any criteria. So instead of just wondering what should I be training, which also is a very complex question and has a lot of details into it, I have prepared these training plans for you. They're totally free. Download the app and start your journey from there. Apply them to your schedule, put them in your calendar, and off you go. You'll be very happy with your results. Once you have answered all these 4 questions, you have found the training plan, you have planned it, started doing it, then you can ask yourself the next question, which is also very important for burning fat. And the 5th question is, can you start walking more every day, aiming for 10,000 steps per day or as close as possible? Make a plan how to achieve this target and use tracking devices to help you track your steps. So you need to first of all identify how much you're walking. You can do that easily with any tracking device like a watch, a ring, and also your phone. By the way, a lot of you don't know that you can track your steps with your phone just by keeping it inside your pocket. It uses the GPS and it's fairly accurate. You can start by just using the phone and see what is it showing for a day's walking. That includes the indoor walking and outside walking. And aim to increase it, aiming for the 10,000 steps or as close as you possibly can. Some of you have extremely busy schedules unallowing to do 10,000 steps, which is the equivalent of about 2 hours straight walking. I get it, many of you won't be able to do that, but see how far you can get and walk every single day. That is the next very important part of losing weight. And with that, we end the training and activities category. And we move to the sleep and recovery category, where we have only 1 question to answer. It's very simple, but it's the lowest hanging fruit in anyone's life right now. The question is, do you have consistent 7 to 8 hours in bed every night? If not, what's stopping you? And start working on fixing this. It's very important you find what's stopping you in having this consistent time in bed. Some of you will be having about 6 hours, and you will stop there and you'll be happy with that. As long as you feel rested and recovered, okay, that's your choice, go for it. It's not my advice anyway. And once you have these consistent hours, then you need to start learning about sleep hygiene, and that's also described here in the sheet. Sleep hygiene is all about the environment in the room, how you prepare before you go to bed, and what you do after you wake up. Very important habits and things that you need to apply to your environment. So if you want to learn more, best thing again is download the Fit in 4 Weeks program, because inside you have trainings on that which will help you handle everything 1 habit at a time. So as you see, everything's practical, tactical, and prepared for you. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done yet. I moved to the last category, which is the bad habits, and here we have 5 random questions which also very relevant to your fitness journey, especially weight loss. And it's super important you ask yourself these questions and see if there's any real problem that you need to worry about. Question number 1 is, are you drinking alcohol more than once per week? If yes, you need to work on reducing that. Alcohol training is also available in the Fit in 4 Weeks program. Question number 2, Are you drinking more than 2 coffees a day, including other caffeine drinks? Also, are you drinking them after 4 p.m.? If yes to any of these questions, work on reducing the coffees down and ensure you don't drink them late in the day. This is super important as well, and more training will be provided on that in future episodes. Third question is, do you forget to drink water throughout the day? If yes, buy a water bottle and have it next to you all the time. I have one and I always preach about it. You can never stay fully hydrated if you have to fill up a small cup of water of 200 milliliters every few hours when you go to the kitchen and so on. You continuously be finding yourself being lazy to go and pick up the water. You need to have a water bottle that is filled up all the time, stays with you, and you fill it up every time it empties. This is the only sure way to stay hydrated throughout the day. And then the fourth question, are you frequently finding yourself in negative thoughts about your life? That could be about your job, about your body, and so on. If yes, work on stopping these thoughts and focusing on the process of becoming better instead. So learn to cope with the shit and focus on your process, on the things that you can do, on the positive as well, as much as you can. But just don't dwell into these negative thoughts thinking, oh, I'm fat, or I'm not looking great. It's okay you say this to yourself every now and then to remind yourself how bad you are so you can chase something better, but don't stay in there because these are very destructive. And with that, we move to the last question, which is, do you think you know it all and you don't need help? If you do think that, you probably don't know as much as you think. And that is really the truth. The more I learn about myself, about my body, the health and fitness in general, the more I know that there is much more that I don't know. And as much as that sounds like a cliche, something that everybody just says, it is true. There is a lot of information out there. So if you find yourself in this situation, or you do know that you don't know it all, download the Fit in 4 Weeks program and start learning right now for free. And that's it, today's episode. You'll find the sheet to download inside the description of this podcast. Subscribe. Thanks for the support. If you have any other questions that you think I missed and I should have added to the sheet, comment below. Tell me what you think, or if you have any objections about anything that I said. Again, let's have a conversation. For future questions as well, please comment, engage, and share with somebody who might need this help. And that's it. See you in the next episode.